You know, you see these guys playing these vintage Strats, and you know, you think, well, is it worth it? There's guys that have played guitar and they're excellent guitar players for 20 years who cannot afford a vintage Strat. This one right here, 1962, Paul Davies is saying is worth 60 grand. Imagine that, $60,000 for a guitar. Is it worth it? Here's one that sold at auction, a 64. All original, like 200 guitar, sold for $24,750. So basically about, with tax and, fees, probably about $27,000. 27 grand for a guitar. And is it worth it? That's what, a lot of people who are playing, who are beginner guitar players, even advanced guitar players are wondering, is it worth it? Is it worth that kind of money? And what I'm telling you is, no, it's not. I'll just tell you point blank, it ain't worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth a guitar that's 30 times the price of one of these right here, which he actually has in the video. In this video, he compares a Fender Squier, a Fender Squier, a 61 reissue, his own personal custom shop guitar, and the 62. That's what he compares on this video. So you can watch the video, and he comes to the conclusion that, there's just something about these old guitars. Well, yeah, dude, you just paid 60 grand for a guitar. Imagine you ask a guy, well, what's your guitar like you paid 60 grand for? He's going to say, oh, well, there's just something about it, man. It's just like, wow. What else are you going to say? Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, I got ripped off, man. 60 grand? I could have bought a custom shop guitar for 5 grand. He has this custom shop here guitar, said he cost him 5 grand. But when you pay $60,000 or $27,000 for a guitar, you're not going to go, yeah, the guitar sucks. Nobody's going to do that. The thing is what's special about it? What's so different about an old guitar? Nothing. I mean, and especially when they're going back and Fender is literally copying the exact dimensions of a 61. They're saying the exact, the alder body, the single coil pickups, the C-shaped neck, 7.5-inch radius slab rosewood fingerboard. And this guitar, they put in special 1961 pickups. They're using the same exact body style as the as an old Strat, the same exact body style, same exact pickups, same exact headstock, same exact logo, same exact tuners, same exact tremolo, same exact tone control. I mean, what is worth 60 grand on this guitar? What is worth 60 grand on this guitar? What is worth nothing? Nothing. You can find, this guitar was 2,500. Ebony neck, quilted maple top, 2-point tremolo system, double coil pickup. This guitar could sound better. I'm not saying it does, but I'm saying it could sound better than a 62. It could. And when you get to any guitar, any one of them, doesn't matter what year, doesn't matter what run, on a good year, a mass-produced guitar is going to be, there's going to be about 30% of them that are awesome. They just crack. They sound great. They play great. Everything's perfect. There's going to be another 30 to 40% that you have to adjust to get them to play right. And they may not sound real good, but they sound good. Then there's another 30% that just you can't salvage. They're lemons. They're just like no matter what you do, unless you take the neck off and put the pickups in and change the neck out or do something radical to it, put on different tuning pegs, put the bar, block it down, do something radical to it, it doesn't sound good. And that's the same thing with 1965, 1964, 1963. There's only X amount of those guitars that rolled off the line sounding good. Not all of them sound good. I've played 57 Strats I would not take to a gig. I've played 59 Strats I wouldn't take out of the house. I have a vintage guitar right now from 1969, original guitar. I don't even play it because it does not perform like a modern day guitar. It doesn't sound as good. And it's from 1969. Worth, 5 times as much as this guitar. So if you're wondering about these vintage guitars, almost 90% of it is hype. And there are going to be some gemstones. Like when this guitar, is 50 years old, it's probably going to sound pretty good. But a lot of that is just hype. And all Paul can say about it is, there's just something about these old guitars. Well, what is it? In other words, it has a little bit more bite. Is that worth $58,000? It has a little bit more bass. Well, you can turn the bass up on your amp. You can turn the bass up on your amp to get a sound. So if your guitar is a little trebly, you turn the treble down on the amp. If your guitar doesn't have enough bass, you turn the bass up on the amp. You don't have to pay another $58,000 to get a guitar, that has a little bit more bass in it. You can, and what I'm saying is that is a little bit more of a bassy sound worth $58,000? Is a little bit more bite worth $58,000? Is a little bit more mid-range worth $58,000? Imagine you had a car. Here's a car for $2,000. It's got 500 horsepower. Here's a car for $60,000. It's got 550 horsepower. Is it really worth the money for 50 more horsepower? Now imagine this. Here's a car for $5,000 that has 500 horsepower. Here's a car for $60,000 that has 1,500 horsepower. You might go, boy, it's a lot of difference there. There's not that much difference in any Stratocaster from one to another. There's not that much difference. They're single coil pickups, alder body, maple neck with a rosewood slab on top of it. Five-way position switch, tone control, volume control. They've never changed since 1957, 1954, whenever they made them. They've never changed anything about it. It's the same body style, same neck scale. All this stuff is pretty much the same. There's nothing spectacular about any of these old guitars. So don't get caught up in the hype of these old guitars being worth any more or being sounding better. Or sounding better than a modern day guitar. They're just, in my opinion, they're just not worth the money.